This is a PowerPoint that's been used in the past. I did my best to update current screenshots of the website because it has changed a bit since the one that somebody gave me to use. So first of all, I will explain that I'm not the normal liaison or education librarian specialist. Vitalina Nova is the education librarian at Temple, and she had a conflict. So I have been backing up her when she can't get to something. I also do some work in education, so I'm doing it today. So she actually created this PowerPoint, and I just updated it a bit. Hopefully it'll work. So and that is her contact information. So basically, the library website has, it's a, I mean, this is the basic website breakdown. This is a search box, which is our library search box, and that's the sort of like what they call a federated search. It's the gateway to all the materials that you have access to here at Temple, whether it be print materials or electronic materials, materials in our special collections, and so on. So that's where that sits. But just some other things that are on this page is information on events and exhibits that might interest you. Like they will be doing one on citation managers, and if that's something that you'll be needing to do, it will talk about how to use them and which one to use, and so on. So when you click on this events and exhibits, it'll list the different programming that we have. And those programmings come from librarians, from the special collections department, from the Scholar Studio, and so on. So they might be of interest to you. And the other thing I wanted to point out was the Special Collections Research Center, only because I don't know if you'll have any interest in it, but because we have a very strong archive collection in our urban archives collection, and they have some things from the school district, and there may be things that apply to you. So just so you might want to explore what they have to offer there at some point. And there's also the Digital Scholar Center, where you can do use the makerspace. There's 3D printing and virtual reality. And so those are also available to you. And also you may need to know how to get help when you need help. So on the website, there is a box that you can click on that says research help, and it will take you to a page that gives you the various options. So of course you can work with a librarian, and you can do that in many ways. And chat is a popular way of getting help, and that pops up throughout when you're in a database or when you're doing research in the catalog. You can always click on that chat, and currently we have 24-hour chat. So after hours, I think a Temple librarian is there. I don't know how late, if it's 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but once Temple signs out, there's librarians from all over the country and all over the world that can try and help you with your question. So it is a good something to be aware of if you're doing something late at night and you need some help. You can also ask questions via email, and you can of course, there's a text number and then the phone number for when we're actually at Temple. So those are like in-person and virtual ways of speaking to a librarian and seeking help. There's also self-help ways. There's this How Do I? And and also there's FAQs. There's a specific one for library search itself that answers questions about library search. And so these are, in addition to that, there's tutorials, and it's a growing collection of tutorials. And basically they're actually the basics of doing research at Temple. So using the website, probably some of the things that I go over today, talking about the kinds of sources that you would meet and so on. So so it's a worthwhile click to look it over, and it takes you through the steps of using some of these sources. So again, we have the databases, which are searchable organization of materials that different from the library search. Not every data, we subscribe to over 900 databases. So these databases that are here are some are multidisciplinary and some are subject specific. So when you're doing research in your discipline, you may want to go straight to a database instead. But I will show you both of them using either one of them. And when you click on that, you get a screen. It does list 927, I think it's up to 952 databases, but you can use a drop down, which was here, that says breaking it down by subject. So education, it says 41 databases. They aren't all specific education databases. They are, I do this all the time. They are databases that go, wait, I just lost my train of thought because it went ahead of me. They're databases that, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. That'll have resources that come back with resources in education, but they aren't education specific. So I'm sorry, I don't know how to go back. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. So the best bets, which are actually, they're arranged alphabetically. We can't do anything other than that. So it's not like they're in order of importance or anything. But the best bets in education are APA PsycInfo and this childcare and early education research, education source, which is, there's two. There's an education source, which is current, and then there's one that retrospectively goes back. And I don't remember how far back it goes. I know it goes back pretty far and up to 1983, and then the current rendition of education source goes up, up until current day. And then there's the ERIC, which is the Education Clearinghouse, which has a lot of documents, dissertations, it lists book chapters and so on. So it is a useful source, and we'll be looking at ERIC today. It says ERIC via EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is the platform. We subscribe to a lot of databases through EBSCOhost, so it may be a familiar platform that you've seen before. So I will pause at this point and go to a live search on the website. So again, it's the web. This is the website. This is the library search box. And today I am just going to, I just chose, let's see. Oh. All right, I just chose a term when I read what the description of the workshop. So, so you can you can search one word, multiple phrases. You can combine terms if you wish. I prefer to put things in quotes. Usually that maintains the adjacency of the terms. So if you want those terms if you want those words as a term, it's not every interface needs that, but I find that still you do in many of the databases. So I just continue to use that. So your results will be multifaceted. They'll be list you some books with that term in it, and articles. Journals would be journals that specifically on that topic, which we don't have, and nothing specific here for those those terms. If you chose to look at the records, there's 236 records. Then you get a list of titles that we either have access to, as in these online titles, or we have physically in the library. And you can then break down where you want these books to be. If you want only books in the Charles Library, then you can just select that and just look at the 74 titles. In addition, you can break down by, sorry, just gonna scroll down. I usually have a mouse with me. I'm sorry, I'm that age that doesn't do well with this little pad. So you can break it down by topic. And so if you only want to look at materials that talk about Asian Americans or social conditions or so on, you can just narrow it down that way. So that's basically what the books are like. And again, you can click specifically on an article from here, or you can click on view all 25,000 articles. And if you do that, again, you can break down, there's multifacets here. So I don't know what the scope of your of what you're doing is, but you can narrow it down to the 2000s so that you don't have as many. You can narrow it down by online only articles and peer reviewed articles and so on. So that's basically what library search is doing. And again, library search doesn't, all of our databases are not included in library search, which is why we recommend that you also go to the databases. So again, you can go to the databases by clicking on here. If you know the name of your database, you can type that in up here. Again, if you're not sure where to start, you can then click down subjects, and then you'll see again the same list that I showed you before. And I don't usually use this, but you can break it down by the type of database it is. So that's something to keep in mind. So I will then go to open up the ERIC database, and let's see. And EBSCO, I don't know, has a nice thing sometimes. Sometimes it gets in and it's annoying, but they do make additional suggestions as you're typing. So you can just, select one of those. And it also, a lot of times it'll have alternative terms. So when you're doing your research, if you don't come up with a lot of results, you may want to add alternative terminology. So they've included a lot of other ways to refer to, like more specific ways that you might refer to Asian Americans. So that's also here. I'm just going to leave it how and let's see. And again, you could do schools and education, or like these terms here, and that is broadening your search. It's giving the database more terminology to include in your results. And I just do all right. So if I don't know if that's something you need, but if you do want things that are dealing with things going on in this country, you can specifically say United States. And then again, if you notice that drop down gave you alternative terms like America or USA or whatever, but I'm just going to keep it as this right now. You can narrow other things down in these boxes as well. But at this point, you probably don't need to. So I did get 812 results. And again, EBSCO is very good about enabling you to break things down more. So if I want more, well, yeah. Let's see, I was gonna narrow it down a little bit further. Okay. Okay. So you can narrow down into the 70s. Trying to see. And then you can also narrow it down by what you want. So if you only want journal articles, you can break it down by academic journals, peer-reviewed journals, and so on. Sometimes it will also give you the option of only things that are in this database as well. But so not every, well, I think maybe, yeah, not everything in the database is full text. So if this were something that you wanted, it says find full text. It takes you to what we call a link resolver, and it takes you to where you can access that title. I just wanted to show you again the subject breakdown. So let's see, if you're interested in elementary, secondary education, for instance, you can break it down further. So full text from ERIC will take you into the ERIC, well, into the report itself. So you'll get these reports. Let's see if there's, and this one has full text, and it will take you to the full text of the article. I'm not looking at the articles themselves, so I hope they're not too off the wall, but I recommend actually, clicking on the article title, even though it says it links you to the full text, and then it links you here as well. But let me see if I can move this on the, can't get to what I want to show you here. Okay, the on the side, it has some tools that can help you. Saving means you can save to you can create an account in the database and save that directly to the database. You can get citation information, or you may want to just email it to yourself. So you can, when you click on that, it will send you the PDF, and then it will also give you the option of, and it will give you it'll also include a detailed citation and abstract. And also, if you're using APA, you can make sure that the citation that it quotes you is in APA format. so you can select the format that you need. So that's why I find it useful to actually go into the article itself. And in addition to that, there's descriptors here, and they could be other descriptors that you could use if you're not getting what you're looking for. If you only want public school students or low income students or whatever, you can then add that to your search, include that as well. So that's why it's useful to do that as well. I'm trying to see if there's, this one says find full text, but I think it is an ERIC document, so I'm not sure. I don't want to take you on a wild goose chase. Okay, so this one says full text, find full text, and it takes you back to Temple, I believe it should. And it'll give you your options, and it can take you to full text is available through a journal through the publisher Taylor and Francis. And when you click that, that is where you get your full text of your article. So again, and then there's certain things that could be useful for you as well, like going directly to the references, see what references this person used and see if that would be useful to you in your search. So, so the other feature that I just wanted to point out here is, sorry, is that I am using the ERIC database, but EBSCO also is a platform that we get a lot of databases from. So you could also add to your search. I'm just going to select education source and education index retrospective. And so it will redo the search on including those databases as well. So it's just included other sources. Let me see. So what you'll see here is, so this one came from education source. So you've already broadened your search again and found some new resources that you might not have found otherwise. And then you don't have to log out of this database and go into another database. So I've always found that useful as well. I think that's, let's see, I just want to, is there any questions now? Okay. Okay. So again, I just want to, I want to go back. Sorry about that. Go back and just talk a little bit about some of the search strategies you can use. So the Boolean operators, where you can use and, which will narrow your search. So your results would have to include the terminology that you've input in there. Or again, will broaden your search. So you can use alternate terminology or alternate spelling or so on in your search. And the asterisk at the end of a word will also expand your search for alternate endings. So if a word ends in like I could have done it at the end of schools or Asian American, and it would include the plural or so on. So so that's something to think about. And again, the quotation marks or for searching phrases. And it does make a difference in these databases. A lot of times the database itself will search anything in the citation, including the journal title. So if the title had school in it or something, and you were using that as a term, you want to make sure that you've included in quotes with another word, so that it's not just pulling the term from anywhere. So I've had that trip me up a few times. So you can use these operators also for alternate spellings within a word. And this goes for most all the databases. Library search will not allow you to do that, or use the truncation mark in its searching, but most of the databases will. So again, getting books at Charles Library, if you want to get books, you go to where it says books and not just books, books and media, DVDs, scores, other materials that we have access. So you go to the same spot, you go to library.temple.edu, you select books and media. You can do an advanced search if you want, instead of just a basic search, and include and tell where you want to find these books. If you're at main campus, you might want to just find books at Charles Library. If you want only online, you can change this to online, or you don't have to specify, and it'll just find what you want and you can choose afterwards. So, and again, you would put your search terms up in the search box, and your results will show up in a list of titles. And this is where we're a little off now, where it says request. It now says, how do I get this? Because during COVID, there was, and we still do it, where if something's not available, we try to find an online, a digital version of the title, even though we don't have the online book in our collection. We can go outside of Temple and find an online digital request. So they changed request to how do I get this? It does, when you click on how do I get this, it's the same thing. You click on that, it gives you the option of selecting where you want to pick the title up. So this is also used for materials that are at other Temple libraries. So if there was a title up at the Health Science campus or up at the Ambler campus, you can select that title, and those things will be sent to you down to Charles. So that is the other option. If you are at Charles, and the other thing is, I'll just show you again. If you have a list, now this here is a list of all the titles. If you click on a title specifically and look at that, it will give you the same information, the publishing information, the subject headings, and so on. But if you scroll down on that screen, and it doesn't work on this list, it only works on if you go on to the specific title, we have a new browsing format that will let you find alternate books on your topic. So if you did a subject search, it's where you used to be able to browse in the stacks to find a book. You now have this system where it's all the books by call number that are close by. So you could also select those. And then it also has titles by the same author. So that would be useful also if you want to see what a specific person may have also written. I went a little too fast. I did want to let you know that anything that says it's in Charles Library main stacks means it's up in the browsing stacks on the 4th floor of Charles. So those materials you would have to go up and get yourself. So that's just something to keep in mind. And anything that Temple that's checked out for, already from Temple or from or we don't own, of course, you can borrow through our interlibrary loan system. PALC Easy Borrow is a consortium of libraries in the, used to be tri-state. I think there's multiple states, but it's like New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and all over Pennsylvania. Books come from Pitt and from all kinds, a lot of places. So those are for books. For scans of journal articles that you're unable to get through Temple, you can request, you can also request books, but it's a very valuable resource with materials that we don't have access to. And it's fast. I mean, it comes within a day or two. So it's just something to keep in mind. And if we don't have access to it, it'll tell you, and then it'll give you an option to request it through interlibrary loan.